Hey guys, and welcome out to episode 5 of Pod of War 2021. I'm your host, EUF Gizmo, joined by Mass of the Das, Chris Mangeli.
Hi everyone.
Good shit. And Xbox Live Zone, CW Lanky. How's it going, Craig?
Howdy.
Howdy. And guys, it's another week. We are a day away from February as we record this, which is very exciting, as we've never left lockdown, and this is our new lives now. So, How is everyone doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
Pengu's on his week off at the moment.
Yep.
Every week's a week off when you're Pengals. It's the new Pengal order, brother.
Yeah.
He's a rejuvenated man.
So as you've been off, Pengy, what have you been playing this week, bud?
I've played, last week I said I was going to finish Cyberpunk on that Sunday, and I did finish Cyberpunk on that Sunday.
Huge.
So I finished that, yeah. I saved it on the last mission, so I can do 3 other endings if I want at some point, but I'm mostly just going to wait now, update 3 DLC and see if they do expansions and stuff like with Witcher. And for that, ended up being actually a very good game. The last mission I went for, because don't want to spoil this, but you can side with different characters and stuff like that, and how you tackle the last mission, and then some stuff intertwined in that. Actually, it was a really good game in the end. So I would say worth playing. And it's cheap now, especially physical. If you look on eBay and stuff. So yeah, but then I guess still only play it on the PS5 or Series X. Maybe I don't know how 1.1 has fixed it or not. I haven't looked at Digital Foundries.
It's improved it
now on what.
It's improved
how this
it.
now works on an Xbox One or a PS4 with.
It's still not locked 30. That's the takeaway from that video. It's still not locked 30, which is what I think people need if you're going to play it on the older consoles.
Yeah. So again, if you got a new console, play it. If you haven't got a new console, don't play it. I guess it's it maybe with that one. Then I've played one of my pickups. I know if you want to talk about this later, but obviously
we can do pickups now, Chris. While we're here, might as well.
I played a bit of Tilia Riser 2 on the Switch. So I've played
a Craig game if I've ever seen one.
I've only played the first hour of it, because I was waiting for the medium to reinstall. But so I've played about an hour of that. Seems quite good so far. I like the combat system. It is turn-based, but it's really quick. It's not as quick as a Persona's combat system, but yeah, it's not waiting around like an old Final Fantasy 7 or something like that. So that's what I'm going to be playing mostly at the moment. So next week videos will be I'm 12 hours in or whatever. So,
you've finished it. It's done. Another one on the list.
It could go on the list. Finished Donut County. Got the 1000G on that. So I have the 1000G and the Platinum for it. And that's it, apart from the medium.
Nice. Obviously, we'll talk about the medium in the topic of the show. So, Craigo, other than the medium, what have you been playing, bud?
So last week, I think I'd literally just started Donut County as we were recording. I think I'd literally played 20 minutes whilst we were setting up. So I finished that day. Nice. Got the 1000G that day. It's actually, to be fair, it's a good little Game Pass game. I think it's £11 to buy it in the store if you didn't have Game Pass, which I wouldn't recommend.
On PlayStation, I believe.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend spending £10 on it. It's a Game Pass game or nothing.
See, I bought it on PS4 when it came out, and I would recommend. But it's even a physical limited edition of it as well.
Yeah, maybe that. It's literally 2 hours.
Quid, though, so that's.
Yeah, that's way too much for a 2-hour game. Definitely. But yeah, it's a fine Game Pass game, to be fair. And then after that, the only thing I've really played other than a little bit in the medium is the first Control DLC, which is the Foundation. Which is actually it was really fun going back to Control, playing it on this gen as opposed to playing it even on their One X last gen, because as good as that game was, it ran like hot garbage. I think that kind of went under the radar. It got a lot of good reviews, but it did not run well at all. I think you were probably looking, the frames were awful. I remember even loading the map up actually was incredibly slow and frustrating.
Yeah.
Whereas now, if you play it on current gen, it's actually pretty silky smooth. Even the version that I'm playing, which is last gen's version, just on the new gen, as opposed to the fancy Ultimate Edition, which is it out yet or is it coming?
No,
It's
it's
this week.
2nd of February.
It's coming.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Tuesday.
So yeah, even playing the old gen version is actually a massive improvement. I can imagine, the next gen version will be all sparkly and nice and beautiful. But the actual DLC is really good. To be fair, it's not that long. I think I finished it in about a couple of days, maybe about 5 hours, if that. It's got some really good side quests as well. So if you do play it, I'd definitely go for the side quests. Even though I think there's only 3 of them. So Pengul's, and there is an achievement as well. They're doing all the missions, and there's only 3, so I think Pengul's would do it. You do have to wander a little bit off the beaten track to find them, but they're
out, done.
They are
Done.
probably one of the side missions is the best part of the DLC. That first bit of DLC anyway. So I would definitely recommend doing the side quest if you do play that. But yeah, it's good to go back to that game because it's such a good game. And the one thing that marred it on the first time around was the technical issues, and they are obviously gone now. So definitely recommend going back to that. Or playing it if you did play it like Dave.
Yeah, so I haven't played it at all. So I was actually going to play it on Series S. But then PlayStation went, aha, we're going to give you the Ultimate Edition, PS Plus. So I'm probably just going to wait.
That's really cool, to be fair.
Yeah, it's day one on PS5. It's Ultimate Edition is free. So I'll have it now. I probably won't play it on PS4. I will probably play it on PS5, which at some point when I'm able to get one. So it's good to hear that it's good. I mean, the second DLC is Alan Wake related, right?
Kind of, yeah. It's kind of like
he's in it, isn't he? I think. I don't know. I've only seen
it's a bit of a crossover, I think.
Yeah.
With the darkness of the Alan Wake and that, which should be interesting because I love Alan Wake as well. I can imagine that's probably not a Dave game.
Oh no.
Oh, definitely.
No. As we'll talk about when we talk about the medium later. So as for me, as Chris has obviously gone through for pickups, I have got a couple pickups. But as for what I've been playing, I'm still playing Persona 5. I'm slowing down on it. I don't know. I'm trying to play it for the trophies too much, I think, and it's kind of ruining it for me. So I need to just stop and just play the game. But
just enjoy it.
Yeah, and it's it's stupid, isn't it? Really, but that's what I'm like. And obviously, Dirt 5, I have sweated out, and I love it. I am 1 trophy away from the platinum, which is the Drive for 1,000 Miles trophy. So I will do that hopefully this week and get another platinum. I think it's 2% the platinum, so it'll be probably the rarest platinum I have. So that'd be sick. But yeah, that's that. As for pickups, so I want to bear in mind that I've bought 3 games in the last 2 weeks with a combined £35. So the first one I picked up was the cheapest. Was Shadow of Mordor, because I wanted to replay it and it's not on Game Pass anymore. So on eBay it was like £5.
It's the other one, isn't it?
Shadow of War is, and they've given Shadow of War for Plus at some point because I have it on PS4 as well. So
is that the first one?
That's the first one.
I never remember.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Yeah.
So I want to replay it, but I haven't got it anymore, and it's come off Game Pass. So I was like, whatever. The other cheap game, which was about, I don't know, like 10, was Marvel's Avengers, because I kind of like the look of it. I get that it's another one of those like Anthem Division games that's just died a death. But just playing the core game I want to do. Like, I'm not interested in grinding for platinums or whatever. I just want to play the game.
The first mission is really good, and the last mission of like the story is really good. It's just everything in between is a bit.
Yeah, and obviously they've had there's a DLC section that's already out, and there's a showcase in 2 weeks' time.
February.
Yeah, for more content. So it's free content. Like again, I saw it cheap. I was like, whatever.
I expect that's when they announce the next gen version.
Yeah, and I think the PS5 version will be a better game. Obviously on PlayStation you get the Spider-Man stuff as well, so it's like okay. And the last game, which I bought brand new for £20, okay, and is a stupid purchase. It's really stupid because I'm not going to play it anytime soon. It is Cyberpunk 2077 on PS4. So it was £20 brand new. The physical edition is absolutely amazing. It really, like, the amount of shit that is in here is ridiculous. And I was like, I'll play it on PS5 then, I guess. Because I wanted to play it on Series S, but obviously I'm limited by... The big problem with my Series S is that it's I either wait for Game Pass or a sale, because I'm not spending full price on games. Like, I'm just not. Like, unless it's, like, locked in, I know it's going to be a good game, like, what I'm going to put a lot of hours in, I'm not going to spend 50, 60, 70 quid on a game. So I was like, I saw it for 20, and I was like, 20 quid with all the gubbins, brand new sealed. Yeah, fuck it, I'll take a risk on it. Like, I'll play it on PS5. I might even load up on PS4 to see how bad it is, and then I've got something to compare it to when I get a PS5. But Yeah, it's again. If you want, I don't know. I'm guessing you played it physically, Chris.
No, I got it digital.
Digitally. So if you're able to get it physically cheap, probably Craig at some point. The physical edition is very nice. Like CDPR always seem to do these like cool editions with like maps and postcards, and it's like a little guide in there as well, and stickers and shit. So I thought I'd do it. I know it's insane. I can already see from Craig's face the insanity of my purchase, but you know what I'm like.
Does that have the PlayStation version of the smart delivery? I guess.
Yes.
So you will get the
I
PS5.
will get the PS5 version.
Yeah.
I would not have bought it
some
otherwise.
sense.
I would not have bought it otherwise. No, yeah, they're doing they're giving it free for both editions, I believe. Same with The Witcher.
Yeah.
So The Witcher 3 will get a free upgrade as well.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Obviously, again, I will never finish.
It also depends when you get your PS5. I know you've had trouble getting one, but if you got one tomorrow, for instance,
That'd be
like
nice.
I said, the game would work
Yeah.
fine. It's just obviously you'd play it in. It's like a weird mishmash, 60 frames performance mode, quality mode. It's like in between like the two modes on Xbox. It's at 60, and it's like, but it's the quality. I can't remember, but it's like a weird.
Yeah,
mishmash
there is
version,
an
but
option.
It just sticks. It does stick to the 60
Which is
frames,
fine.
which is good. Yeah.
And the thing
So
about
I
the
played
PS5
frames
is
first.
there isn't really an exclusive game on it that I need. So if I were to buy a PS5, it's to upgrade my PS4. Like, I know that's a really stupid reason to buy a PS5, but like I've got a base like launch PS4. So Ghost of Tsushima at 60, Cyberpunk actually working, stuff like that is what I want a PS5 for more than anything. That's why I'm not like, I'm not tempted by scalpers or anything. I'm just like, I'll just wait. Like, if I can get one if I can go to Amazon, click buy, and it arrives at my house, that's how I want it. I don't want to be camping out at 4 a.m. trying to buy a game bundle with a fucking hat, 2 t-shirts
In the middle of winter.
in the middle. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to have the PS5. So, but yeah, that's my little pickups.
I've got one more pickup.
You've got one
Obviously, I
more.
talked about it.
You managed to buy that from the first bit to the second bit of the podcast. It's not bad.
I have this bad boy.
Oh, another PSP. Is that the Street or is that just a white?
No, it's a white. It's the Pearl White 3000
Okay.
model.
How many
So it's
PSPs are you on now?
This is my home 2 PSPs.
Oh, it's two PSPs. Just the two.
So yeah.
Two.
So yeah, you're in that white one and the plain black one.
So what we're
So-
saying is we're not out of January yet, and Pengels has already bought 2 consoles.
Yeah.
He's gone quiet. He's gone quiet. Yeah. So wasn't one of the New Year's resolutions not to buy any more retro consoles?
No, if you
Play the
read
ones you
it,
have.
no, if you read it, and Dave can think my resolution was not to buy any retro consoles I don't own. So
I
love the
faced-
confused silence here.
Just
No,
like, how's that any
my
better?
PS
That might be worse.
No, I don't know. Like my black PSP no longer charges. I've replaced the batteries and stuff on it, so I wanted a replacement for it. So I've replaced it with this white one.
2 questions. How
Yeah.
much did it cost?
A lot,
Okay, in pounds, how much did it cost?
a lot.
Oh, God.
What,
But
like triple figures?
Yeah, possibly.
God.
What?
So you must so if my memory of the market's right, you probably paid what, like 150?
No, not
No,
that
quite
much.
120, something like that around.
Yeah.
So question number 2.
Yeah.
So in the last, how long have you had the black PSP?
I've had that
Is it when we bought PSPs?
2 years.
Like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
How
most
many
probably.
hours of PSP have you played since you bought that black PSP?
Maybe 5 at a push.
Okay. So I'm just making sure the value of your. So when the comments complain that I've spent £20 on this, it's nothing. This is why Chris is in this podcast, because I could go out and buy any shit and it would be fine, because Chris will have an equivalent that's 4 times the price and half the time. So, well, that's good. Good that you've bought that.
Surely you'd play the Vita, wouldn't you? Because you love the Vita.
I do love the Vita. Basically, I got 250 PSP games, and the
Wait.
worst thing in my
Have you got 50? You say, or 250?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you said 250. I was like, fuck. Mate. Like, Jesus, we need an intervention if you're buying 250 PSP games.
that I got to 50 PSP games. I started playing the third birthday on it, and that's when I had the issues with the charging for my PSP. And the worst thing in my PSP collection was the PSP itself. So that's why I replaced it.
Fair enough.
That's what I was saying about not buying a retro console I don't own. So let's say my Dreamcast. I went and played my Dreamcast tomorrow and it didn't work. I would replace my Dreamcast.
You obviously
So,
aren't
I
going to play your
hope-
Dreamcast away, so that's fine.
Because I have,
It's not going to be an issue. So
I
what?
have it.
Obviously, as a non-handheld guy,
Yeah.
what are the big PSP games? What are the ones that are really great then?
You have.
What are you excited to maybe play on your PSP?
Like I said, third birthday, I started playing that. So I decided to play that because I never played it. You have good ones like Birth by Sleep, Crisis Core, which is maybe my favorite non sort of mainline Final Fantasy. So you have that. You got like a Jack and Daxter game called Lost Frontier, which is also on PS2, but you got that. You got Daxter, which is part of that series. You got a Ratchet and Clank one. You got loads. It's got a lot of RPGs.
You got
there's Persona 3 Portable.
Got Metal Gear Solid
Peace
Peace
Walker.
Walker in Japanese.
That's
Got that.
Japanese.
Got Daxter.
I own all the Metal Gears.
Got that one. And I've got like 4 PSP games. So. Final Fantasy. Whee!
Yeah.
And I've got them in platinum just to annoy Chris.
Yeah.
But yeah, PSP's a great console. I don't think that's the argument. It's more how much are you going to play the PSP when most of the good games are available on PSTV probably at this point.
Yeah, but like I said, it was more to replace my sort of semi-broken PSP, which
More a
would work if
collector's item than a I'm going to play it. Was it? That what
Yeah.
you're saying?
yeah, sort of thing.
Okay.
But it wasn't going like, I'm going to go buy a Saturn and then buy 50 Saturn games. or
You've
something
never
like
done that before, Chris, have you? How is the 3DO, by the way? How's that going?
That video is good.
Good, yeah.
It's down there somewhere. Plugged in. It is plugged in. It is plugged in.
It's plugged in.
It's always great for me because you have this. So the way this podcast is laid out, you've got Craig, who is the complete opposite of Penguin, and then me that's in the middle, which is half and half, and it just amuses me so much because Craig just looks at him like, what world do you...
Judges.
Craig, you play a PS4 for about 2 months, you know what I mean? Let alone a 3DO. So, anyway, so that's the initials. Obviously,
I got some 3DO games plugged down there, which I need to play at some point.
well, obviously there hasn't been a video on your channel for like months, Chris. I think the 3DO comeback needs to happen this week.
Yeah.
We'll touch in next week, see how many 3DO games you've played. The last part of the housekeeping
None.
is the fantasy.critic stuff we did last week. Obviously, we've done some more purchases since. So, obviously, I purchased games that I can't remember. Back for Blood was one of them. And there was another one. Do you remember what I bought, Craig?
It was the Monster Hunter Stories.
Monster Hunter
you
Stories
got.
2, there we go. I bought
Which
both of those
I
for
bid
$1.
on.
Oh, did you bid it?
So what is Monster Hunter Stories, Dave? I'm
It is
intrigued.
a spin-off of Monster Hunter. The first was a 3DS game. It is a turn-based RPG. The
Right,
first one
okay.
reviewed very well, and I know personally people that prefer it to Monster Hunter. Like Pete loves it. I think Chris probably likes it as well. It's a guaranteed. For me, it's a guaranteed hit. A guaranteed. I'm not going to buy the game, but it's a guaranteed. I think like 80 plus on OpenCritic.
Nice.
Yeah.
And Back for Blood's in early access as well now.
Back 4 Blood is literally Left 4 Dead 3.
Yeah.
Like it's literally Left 4 Dead 3, and it's in early access. The footage I've seen of it looks really good, and the people that like those games really like those games. So it's risky because it's it could go the way of Evolve, and reviewers hate it because it's not got enough content or whatever, or there's problems with the servers or something like that. But from what I've seen of it, I think that's also another slam dunk. So that's why I've gone for. And I think the crucial thing is I do think both games are going to come out this year. Stories, it depends if they do worldwide, but I think both games will
Yeah,
come
it's
out this
supposed
year.
to be summer 2021, haven't they? They've
Yeah.
put it in all there. Because they even did it in the Monster Hunter showcase. They even showed,
It should in
that
English,
again.
shouldn't they, as well, I think.
yeah, because you can transfer your saves. If you've played Monster Hunter Rise, stories recognized, and you unlock some cool content or whatever in stories. Yeah, I bid on that one, but I had it as my third on your priority, and I presume you must have had it second, so you got it in front of me. So it's kind of annoying. So I only got.
Oh, so you both bid
two-
£1?
Yeah,
Okay.
but because Dave
The big dog
only bid
wins.
on 2 and I bid on 3, because I picked up Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2.
Which
Yeah, I
is,
was really surprised when I saw that.
it's not coming this year.
Because if it comes this year, that game is a 90 plus.
Probably.
Yeah, but if you had drafted that last week, you
Yeah.
would have been able to drop it if it didn't come out.
Yeah.
Whereas
but
now you ain't gonna be able to drop that if it doesn't come out.
I think if it gets confirmed or will not release, I think I can still drop it, but I'm not 100%
Don't think you can. I think if you
Well,
bid
I
for
took-
stuff,
I have no idea.
I took the gamble for it, and the other one was, I can't even think what the other game was.
It's Humankind.
Yeah, Humankind, which is by I think it's Total War team.
Yeah,
It's a Sega
it had
published
a
game.
Stadia demo, right?
Yeah,
Which was okay.
Yeah.
It's a niche game, so it'll go one of two ways. I think if the PC people that review it like it, it'll get good points. If not, it will get very bad points.
obviously
I'm
Pengy's hoping that's going to be his Crusader Kings 3 of the year.
Yeah,
Yes,
it could
that's
be, but
what
I
I'm
don't.
hoping
They're not
for.
as. I don't think they're as reliable as a Paradox game. But I could be wrong.
No, but the Total War games always do sort of okay. So
Yeah, they do
I'm
okay.
hoping, if Breath of the Wild is like I said, it's a total gamble. If it comes out, it's the 35th anniversary of Zelda this year, and obviously 4 years ago, Breath of the Wild 1 came out. So
I mean, if it comes out, you look like a genius because I'm guessing you bid £1 on it.
Yep.
Yeah, so if it does come out, then it's a masterstroke.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, then
We will see. I think. You picked some up, Craig, didn't you? I believe.
yeah, I picked up 3 in the end. I had 2, and then another game got a release date, so I ended up going 3. So I had The Artful Escape, which is a Xbox. I don't know if it's an exclusive or a timed exclusive or it's something like that.
I think
It's on their
launches
list
straight
of.
it launches straight into Game Pass because their list is weird. Because their exclusive list has got like We Shoot Dreams Elsewhere on it as a console exclusive. Yeah, it's coming to Switch.
Yeah, it's got all
So
sorts of stuff
Switch,
on their list.
not a console.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
So yeah,
Yeah, that's a game that's been. I think that was announced like 3 or 4 E3s ago.
yeah.
It's been in development for a long time, but it was on their confirmed this year list. So
We'll
hopefully
see.
it does actually come. We'll see. Surely, I mean, it's a 2D platformery sort of game. It can't take that long, surely. And I had the new Warhammer game, which is also on Xbox's list, which I'm guessing is a
40K
timed exclusive.
Dark Tide. It is a timed exclusive.
Yeah.
It's a proper exclusive or a time.
I think it's a console launch exclusive.
It's timed. Yeah, it's definitely timed.
Yeah, it's just their new way of saying like timed exclusive. And
I'm gonna play the shit out of that game. By the way,
this looks like the better Left 4 Dead game for me.
It's Vermintide 40K. If you've played the
Yeah.
Vermintide games, which are sort of medieval fantasy Warhammer, whereas the 40K universe is like Space Marines and lasers and shit. And I'm gonna like Dark Tide is one of those games. It's like the perfect Game Pass game for me because I'm gonna play that with friends, with different groups, and I'm gonna love it. I'm sure because Vermintide is fantastic games. Both of them reviewed very well.
Yeah,
as
that
well.
reviewed well. I did have a
Yeah.
little look. I think that reviewed at 83 or something like
Mhm.
that. So if that does, similar numbers to that, then
It's good
I think
points.
that's a good pickup.
Yeah, it's good points.
And then probably the most risky out of the 3 is Biomutant I picked up because that's finally got a release date after God knows how many years of being in development.
You must have bid a few quid on that as well, or did you?
Yeah, I think I bid 3 on that.
Yeah.
Just because I thought, there was lots of kind of news about it having release dates. So I was
You're
thought
worried.
one of you might bid on it, and I really wanted it.
I love THQ, but I would completely missed my mind that I would bid on that at all. So that game
Yeah,
they
and I think
showed
it's
off,
coming quite soon as well.
It's
I think
supposed to be summer,
May.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
They
it's
showed
not
it
the end
years
of
ago,
the year.
But,
Oh yeah, it's been about for ages.
we were talking off air, me and Craig, about how actually very good THQ Nordic have been the last couple of years for these kind of releases. So they've had a steady stream of decent reviewed games. I think SpongeBob got the worst reviews, but that was because of like bad reviewers, from what I can tell. Because everything I played, like people that like those games reviewed them very well. And there was it GameSpot, Chris, who had they couldn't get past like a level, and they reviewed it like 5 or something stupid.
Right.
It was something like that, and I was like, okay, but like, so you had that Kings of Amalur, Destroy All Humans, Desperados 3. They've all did all these games, Darksiders Genesis, of solid releases last couple of years. Or THQ is one of those things when we eventually do a podcast about publishers. It's one of those that's actually a surprisingly good publisher. But yeah,
See, with your 2 pickups there of like Back for Blood and what's the one you got? Darktide.
Darktide, yeah.
And you got Hoods coming soon. Which
I didn't like the look of that at all.
Oh, was that the Robin Hood game?
Yeah.
I quite like
Yeah,
that.
I didn't
I
like
didn't,
the look
I
of
didn't
that
like the look
still.
of that at all. Which was it?
Problem with
PlayStation or was it Xbox?
Yeah, it's
PlayStation.
PlayStation.
It's
It's
PlayStation.
a PlayStation
event.
thing, but it's on both. It's up for like pre-order on Xbox.
Yeah.
The problem with those sort of games now, like, well, I guess they're still going to review okay. Is like they feel like they should be free to play, sort of thing. But I don't. That's not really going to affect reviews. It's going to be like Back for Blood's really good. It's an 8, but I wouldn't pay 50 quid for it. Or something
I
like
think
that.
as well, it
It's
depends on who
gonna
you
be.
are, as well. Like, because I like, as someone who's played those type of games with friends, they're worth every penny. Like, I get that they see. I think if you don't play them a lot, they seem like modes from other games. Like, they seem like Call of Duty Zombies, and like Firefight and stuff. But I think they're usually quite well priced. I think there's enough content, and you got to remember as well, Darktide's going straight into Game Pass, which will definitely factor into reviews.
And the Hood
And
game
Warhammer's,
like 25 quid.
It's like a niche thing, and like people who like Warhammer will pay that for that game, won't they? Even if it's rubbish, they're
We
going
do.
to pay for it.
They put a lot of games out, so there's
Yeah.
like 50 Warhammer 40k games every year. But
Yeah, like anyone seems to be able to get that license.
yeah, they don't care.
Same-
They're just like whatever.
It's the same with the Vampire the Masquerade like series. There's like 7 of them coming.
Yeah, and the main game got delayed. But
Yeah.
so that's housekeeping. That's a good little half an hour we've gone into that. So luckily this week's topic of the show isn't as in depth or as cray as the usual ones. So Chris, what is this week's topic of the show? Can you remember?
It's impressions of the medium. 'cause
There
I
we
believe All of us should have played it.
We've all played it of varying degrees.
Yeah.
So the medium obviously is a third person horror.
It's a survival
survival
game.
horror game that's come to Game Pass. It is the first Xbox Series X exclusive game. Obviously on PC, before you say it, Chris. PC
Bright
doesn't count.
Memory. Don't forget Bright Memory.
Bright Memory wasn't a game. Okay, so we're not even going to count that. Like proper release. It's not a AAA game, and I think that's evident. But it's the first proper release, so show off the power. So I know Chris has played the most. So we'll go with Chris last. But so Craig, you've played a few hours, like an hour or so today. How are you finding the game?
Yeah, so I think probably played about an hour and a half this morning. I've literally, just for context, just got inside of the hotel, the little institute that you have to go for. It seems very much like a blooper game. I played Blair Witch. It seems very much like that. It's kind of more adventure-y than actual survival-y, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't even think you have a health bar or anything like that, as far as I've seen. It seems good. I think I really like the art style. I really like the fact that it's kind of, very Soviet and all of that sort of thing.
Craig's a red. Craig's a red.
Yeah, obviously I've not got far on the story, so I can't really say much about that. It's got like very much like kind of control-y sort of vibes, and kind of like the Girl with the Dragon Tattoos sort of vibes as well, I thought, with the whole like her being on a motorbike and the leather jacket and all that. But it seems good from what I've played, but like I said, I've not got very far.
So I'm in pretty much the exact same place. Obviously, if you've watched any content we've ever done, I'm a big scaredy cat, and I don't play horror games. Really, I don't like being scared. So I played about an hour and a half as well. I'm in the institute. I like the game. I don't think I'm going to continue playing it purely because of the type of game that it is. I think Craig's right. The art style is really good, and it's somewhat unique outside of like the Metro games and stuff like that. There isn't a lot of Eastern European style games. I think there's a Siberia. It reminds me of this is like a good version of that. If you played those games, I think the weirdest thing to play because it's got tank controls and it's got static cameras.
Yeah,
so
that's what I was curious how.
It reminds me of Silent Hill and all that. Because there's no combat. It's fine. It's
It can be quite jarring, though, I thought,
when it
when you
shifts and you're
suddenly
like you're going,
fly from one camera to the
yeah.
other.
And obviously, I haven't
But I
played
do
any
like the
bits.
cinematicness of it.
Yeah, like and that's the thing when you have a static camera, you're controlling what the player's looking at. So for someone like me that gets scared easily, it's horrible because I'm not in control at all. So I'm like, oh, something could come around the corner and they could shoot it in a way that I can't. There's nothing I can do about it. My only worry would be if there. I don't know if there's any. I think I've heard there's runaway sequences. You've got to run away from something. So my worry would be if it shifts the camera while you're doing that and you are going in one direction, then it spin. Yeah, those games always have this problem. They've had this problem since the early 90s, with Alone in the Dark and stuff. But yeah, I think it's good. I think it's one of those games. I think it's perfect for Game Pass. I don't think it's worth. Is it $44.99? I would I personally wouldn't pay that for an 8-hour survival horror game with no combat. Personally, it's not the type of game that I'm into. But I think if you've got a Game Pass and an Xbox Series S, X, or a PC that can run it, it is a highly recommended game. I like the whole split world thing. I think it's really interesting. I can already tell that it really helped with developing the characters. Like even the first character, is it Frank, or whatever he's called, the first character you speak to, like you can already tell the kind of things they can do with the character development, having the afterlife spirit world thing going on, and it's very interesting. The fact that it renders both things at the same time is fairly impressive. And of course, I'm playing on a Series S, and it runs perfectly. It looks really good. No issues from that end whatsoever. I know Chris had some like general bugs when he was playing it.
I had one issue which is kind of funny because we were talking about Cyberpunk game, which all the issues I had 0 issues. And this game comes out and I have a game breaking sort of issue. I get to a certain bit in a forest. I climb up a ceiling. You have to press Y to climb. I climb, and Marianne just gets stuck in she just literally just stuck there. Can't go back, can't go forward, cannot move. I checked the Let's Play just in case I did something wrong. It wasn't. Nope, that was the correct way. I loaded up an slightly older save. Did all that again. Still wouldn't let me pass. So I uninstalled it. Went and played an hour's worth of Tilia. Finished installing. Put it back in. Loaded up the save, and it did it fine. So it fixed it, whatever the problem was. But again, I shouldn't really have to uninstall and reinstall a game. That's the only issue I found. I did message, neither Twitter accounts replied to me, but I could have got a review copy of this, but I seen pointless because of obviously it's on Game Pass. So I just messaged them and like, oh, yeah, we're looking at it. We put an update out today, and that was obviously for different fixes or whatever. So I expect an update will come, something will fix this. So other people won't get that issue if they get that far. And again, it worked fine after I uninstalled it. So that's weird. I really like the game. It is, I said survival horror, but obviously don't really have any combat. So like a classic Resident Evil or Resident Evil 2, you would have your guns, your ammo scarcity and stuff like that. More like psychological horror, I guess. And I liked it because a lot of horror games now, we played like Outlast. I've not played it myself, but it seems to be like all about the jump scares. You got your camera, here's the jump scares of your dude in the asylum or wherever it is. And I didn't like Resident Evil 3 Remake because they took out a lot of puzzles from the proper Resident Evil 3, as I'm going to call it. They took a lot of puzzles out. They made it even more, like Resident Evil 3 on the PS1 was action heavy anyway compared to 2. It was even more action heavy. So to me, this harkens back to Silent Hill 2, Fatal Frame 2, Clock Tower 3, all those PS2 era sort of games, especially like the Silent Hill. So this is sort of like the perfect game. So you look at the reviews, there's like 9s and there's 4s. I think the people that have given it 4s are going like, where's the combat, blah, blah, blah. Like
it's not a 4 out of 10 game, is it? That is just silly.
That is, it's on Xbox.
I wouldn't say
let's review it badly.
I probably wouldn't say it's 9 out of 10 game either, but that's closer to
but they've gone
4s.
I can kind of get why they've given it those score. They're like, the controls, the camera is old school feel. It's like, this game looks like a game, feels like a game from 2001, but looks like it's come out in 2021. that's like what I want, sort of thing. Again, talking about like, Resident Evils, that's why I'm excited for Village, which it looks more survival horror than compared to like the remake of 3.
I think
So,
I
yeah.
think the problem with the Medium and why its reviews are so up and down is I think the expectation for it was a lot higher than the budget. Like the budget, it's clearly a AA game. Like it's not got the budget of Halo. It's not going to have the budget of Resident Evil. But because there was no Halo, because it is the first proper big Series SX game, it's got higher expectations. I think it deserves. I think it's a good game. I think 100% 7s and 8s. It's got obviously on. I think OpenCritic it's about 75, something like that.
Yeah,
which is giving me some points, obviously.
Yeah, it's giving me some points in the other one.
But it's like, I think that's perfectly fine, and I think that's because what I wanted to do with the first impressions. Obviously, we've played the game, Chris. You'd say you like it, yeah.
I've got all apart from one achievement as well.
Okay, you get that.
I saw that.
You get that tonight.
I got it all in my one playthrough as well. This is also the thing. I played it like how I would have played Silent Hill 2 and that. So like every room scoured like thing for like that puzzle piece. So I got all the collectibles apart from one. Literally, I'm missing one collectible.
That's heartbreaking.
And the game has no chapter select, so I'd have to play for like 5 hours. So I'd have to start again and like play all the hotel part basically.
Does it tell you what you're missing, or
I figured out which one I'm missing, but and I figured out where it's to, but it would take me like 5 hours, so I'd have to start the game again.
If there was a platinum, you totally would.
I would do it for platinum.
Yeah, I know you would. I'm the same. That's why I've always said it's one thing that Xbox needs.
Yeah, because the achievements are obviously it's only just come out, but if you look on like true achievements, like I think I'm like 9th on the leaderboard or something. Like only like one's above me and one's like Maka, who's got all the achievements. Because obviously the game's got a lot of collectibles and stuff like that, which I think a lot of, like I said, I missed one, but I can see a lot of people missing collectibles and doing like the echoes and stuff like that. If you don't be thorough, I can see not many people getting close to the 1000G on it. I'm surprised I sort of did my first playthrough, but yeah, I really enjoyed it.
And obviously, Craig likes what you played so far.
Yep.
Obviously, we're talking it's on Game Pass, and it's obviously 40 quid. I don't think I would pay 40 quid for it digitally, but maybe if it had a physical release of 40 quid.
Maybe. Chris Pengelly would be buying that day one pre-ordered.
Isn't there a physical edition?
No.
In like America or something?
Not that I've seen. Possibly, but not actually. I could possibly in there because obviously you do get budget veto and releases. Like you're talking about SpongeBob, I think that was like $29.99.
Yeah, I don't even think it was that. Physical. I think it was like 20. It wasn't expensive.
Yeah, so if it was like 40 quid physical because you like just finished it 8 hours. I could set it on and that, but don't think I would pay 40 quid digitally for it.
So, sorry, the point I was sort of grinding towards is sort of the overall bigger discussion about Game Pass. So this is the first real. So the last gen, obviously, Game Pass was a thing, but it wasn't a thing at the start. So this is the first real whole generation where we're going to have Game Pass the whole way through. You know, so every Xbox first party game, all the deals they do, these games are going to come to Game Pass first. So what I think it's going to make and what seems to happen is it's basically making it like a Netflix event. So you get this game that comes out this week. It's a shorter game. It's not a game that would normally make waves, I don't think. But because of Game Pass, you're going to play it for a week or whatever and be like, okay, or a weekend. It's cool. I'm done. So my overall sort of question for you guys, especially, we'll start with Craig, is with the Game Pass the way it is, do you think that it's going to produce a lot more of these AA games? Or do you think that the traditional, big AAA game every sort of 3 months is going to go away? Like, how do you think it's going to affect sort of the Microsoft's just plans really for this generation in comparison to the Xbox One, where it was here's big launch title, 4 months later here's a game, 4 months later here's a game?
I mean, even if you look at the list of games that Microsoft, the exclusives that they
Yeah.
put out. I think it was something like 31 games or something crazy like that. I'm guessing most of those will be day one Game Pass games. I think the only real AAA game on the whole list, I know they haven't announced a lot, which is probably because of the Bethesda deal, and that was Halo Infinite.
Hmm.
The vast majority of those games were kind of indie games or, double A games. I don't know if you'd say Psychonauts 2 was double A or triple A, whatever. But
Straddles
in
the
it,
line.
would
I
say.
think
probably
it will
straddles the line.
definitely. I mean, it definitely is going to lead to a lot more indie games because at the end of the day, more people play them when they're on Game Pass. If the Medium wasn't on Game Pass, how many people would have actually bought and played
We
that
wouldn't
game?
be talking about it.
Exactly.
No, we wouldn't be talking about it.
And that is the thing with Game Pass. You see these indie games, or you see any game drop onto Game Pass, and then the week later on the True Achievements activity list they have on the
Donut
side.
County was I seen it was the first time it's ever. It was on like the most played leaderboard with like your FIFAs and your GTA's.
Exactly.
Donut County was up there.
So if you are an indie developer or a double A developer and you want people to play your game, being on Game Pass is the best way, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. So I suppose the question as a consumer, do you think that changes your habits? 'Cause obviously, the reason I'm asking you, because obviously Craig is the most Xbox centric of all of us. So I would have my thoughts, and I think Chris is probably going to be even further the other way. Do you think it's going to affect dramatically the way you play and buy games? And is it good enough? I suppose is the question I'm asking. Are you happy to play the Netflix of games? And you're almost 30 as well, so like you don't have as much time necessarily. Are you happy to play that like couple of AAA games as opposed to, say, when you were 19, 20, you were right, I'm going to buy Call of Duty, and that's my one game for 6 months. Whereas now, I'd imagine I'm going to drop in and out of these Game Pass games, and sort of have like I shouldn't keep saying it, but it is that Netflix Disney Plus strategy of here's the Mandalorian in this big chunk. We're going to watch the Mandalorian. Oh, that was cool. And then you move on to your next thing. It's not like you're buying the DVD box sets or whatever.
I think that change has kind of already happened, in fairness.
Yeah.
I think you look at the last year, the amount of games I bought was probably minimal,
Mm-hmm.
but the amount of games I probably played more games last year in a year than any year before that, simply because of Game Pass.
I was gonna
simply-
say, if you look on like True Achievements, you can like see the graph thing. If you look at like yours, and it's like steady of just like FIFA and Call of Duty, and then Game Pass comes out, and then it's like, and
It's huge, yeah.
And you're just playing things like Donut County, like you would have never played Donut County.
Oh no, I never, like I said before, I never would have paid £10 for Donut County. And I think it supplements, the third-party AAAs really well. Because, you think third-party AAAs on Xbox coming out, we've got Resident Evil coming, and even that's, a few months away. But other than that now, what is there really
I don't know what's next.
coming that's not?
Far
Yeah,
Cry.
that's it. So,
Delayed, didn't it?
No, like
that is where Game Pass
like,
is
February
brilliant.
games coming, and like the big games are like Bravely Default, which is obviously only on like Switch, and that's like the big game in February. March is Monster Hunter, pretty much. Nothing else really.
Well, that's the thing I was going to
Yeah,
say.
I think the change that you're saying is pretty much already happened, in all
Yeah.
honesty. I think it already has changed the way that I consume games.
No, that's good, because obviously this is why I wanted this little chat, because I know that it's a different thing with the one below me. So for Chris, has Game Pass basically subsidized your AAA obsession? So what I'm saying is, like, you would probably buy most big games anyway, if you take Game Pass out, but because Game Pass gives you a lot of the sort of smaller games that you would probably normally pick up here and there, are you finding that you're spending more money on AAA games simply because you have that money? So like, if you would have bought the Medium, say it was £30, you probably would have bought it physically, traded it in, because you've got it on Game Pass now. Well, actually, that £30 I can spend on a PSP I don't need, or it can be on Cyberpunk or whatever. Do you think, because obviously the biggest difference between, say, Craig and me and you, probably more than anything, is we are still very laser focused on what is an exclusive, what is blah blah blah. So like, it's not important to me. I know to a lot of people it is important, but like, if you look at Xbox, and the reason I bought a Series S is that it is the Game Pass box. It doesn't need to be anything. It doesn't need Halo as stupid as that sounds, I'm looking forward to Halo, but the fact that Halo has been delayed a year isn't a massive problem because it's the Game Pass box. You know what I mean? Whereas on PlayStation, which doesn't have that Game Pass thing, I think if you didn't have Spider-Man, if you didn't have Demon's Souls, that would be a bigger issue. Which is why as people that own every console, it's not too bad for me and you. But I suppose how does it all affect the way you're going to purchase games, do you think, in this next generation?
I think it would change it slightly. I think it would change it more on the indie and double A front. I don't think it would change the triple A front that much because you still, like I said, January, February, and March, for instance, this year you've got, like I said, the most triple A games, mostly Monster Hunter Rise, out of the whole 3 months. For instance, there aren't many games that would be, regardless to Game Pass. If Game Pass was a thing, it wasn't. It would just be like that one game. The difference is Donut County, for instance. I bought that on PS4 when it came out. Now, because of Game Pass, or the last Artful Escape, for instance, that looks really cool. It's by Annapurna, whatever they're called, is the publisher. Really like all their games they publish. Donut County. I would mostly pay 15 quid for that. If I had just had a PlayStation 5, for instance, and it came to PS5, it's 15 quid. I would mostly pay that for it. Now I don't, because it's on Game Pass. That's what's changed for me. I'm playing these indies with a mixture of obviously Xbox exclusives, like your Halos, your Forzas and stuff mixed in. And even when I put my review up on GNeighbor on the last game we finished, Thread of the Medium, most of them on there have a Switch and a PS4. Some have now a PS5 instead of PS4. I put on the thing, none of you obviously have a thing to play it, but this is like the perfect example of why the Series S is good. Not the S, the X, the S. It's 250 quid. Here's your Game Pass box. You do your subscription, you play the Medium, Psychonauts, whatever, and then you use your PS5 in their case, or PS4, as your Assassin's Creed Valhalla or Call of Duty box, for instance.
Yeah, and I think so for me, I think that's the way it's going. And so I've noticed this the last year, I've really noticed my own gaming habits changed because I'm always one of those people that's kind of like Chris, but maybe not quite as bad in one way. Like I probably buy almost as many games as Chris does, but I'm terrible for buying and then trading in. Whereas that's kind of begun to stop now because I can't. So I think for me, the reason I wanted a Series S was to limit myself to, right, this is my Game Pass box. This is all I want to play on this is Game Pass, is Gold, is occasional deals. Like I'm not interested. I bought Valhalla because it was a launch game, just because it was, I bought a new machine, so I wanted something to play on launch. But I can't see me buying full price games on the Xbox very often. I genuinely can't. So it's what I think is going to happen for me is when I am able to get a PS5, the PS5 is going to be my collection machine, which sounds really stupid. I know Craig cringes at the thought of this. Like my physical games now are going to be mainly PS4, PS5 games. They're not going to be Switch games, they're not going to be Xbox games. So if I want to play, say for example, Shadow of Mordor, it's £5 on disc. I will buy it now for PlayStation because I've got the Series S. That's not anything against Xbox, that's just because it's not on Game Pass. Whereas if it was on Game Pass, I would just play it on Game Pass. And I think that's kind of the way I'm gonna flip-flop now, is when stuff comes to Game Pass that interests me, that console is already paid its value. You know what I mean? It's £250 already. I've probably saved that in games. You know what I mean? Like I've probably already saved that in games on Game Pass alone. Playing stuff like, I don't know, like if I were to play Donut County, if I were to play Yakuza in any way, that's paid for. If I pay 3 of the Yakuza games, my Xbox is paid for. You know what I mean? Like Game Pass is not an expensive subscription. I know with all the stuff that happened last week, but as we've said many times, I've never paid full price for Game Pass. I've got it until October this year. I've never paid it. It's always a deal.
Last week was just Gold, not Game Pass.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like there's a talk that they were trying to push Game Pass and stuff. I don't think they will.
Yeah,
they're just going to get rid of Gold. That's what's going to happen. Gold is going to be gone.
That's what I thought. I thought that's why they especially put Gold up. People were just going to look, I can pay $4 more and just get Game Pass Ultimate. that's how I took it, because they announced they got 18 million Game Pass subs,
Yeah.
but 100 million active Xbox Live accounts. Obviously, that's active. They could be PC, it could be
They could also
Minecraft,
be
yes.
They could also be silver accounts. That doesn't mean they're gold accounts.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. So, but even if you said 50% of that 100 million paid for gold, that's 50 million paying for gold, only 18 million paying for Game Pass. It's trying to get those other 32 million to change their gold to Game Pass. That's what I took it. It's like, if we charge them more for gold, they're just gonna buy Game Pass.
I genuinely think that a conversation was had in the wrong place by the wrong person, because every time you see any interviews with the people like Larry Herb or people like even Phil, they seem to be like, "Oh, why have we done this?" You know what I mean? It's like, what was that for? But I think the thing with gold, the gold just needs to go away. That's what I would just get rid of gold. I would completely phase it out, and then if people want, and I would make multiplayer free, and I would go, if you want the game privileges, get Game Pass. Because Game Pass, like I said, 18 million. So if 18 million people, say 10 million people play the medium, that is 8 million people more than would have played the medium before. Am I right? I know it's
Easily, yeah.
I know
Definitely.
it's not, because it's an exclusive console game at the moment. That's not going to happen. But just an example, you know what I mean? I think Game Pass does need a killer app, and I think Halo will probably do that at some. I think Forza does that. To be honest with you, I think Forza Motorsport sells super well. So as soon as all those games, like as soon as the new simulation game goes onto Game Pass, that's again another couple of million. PC adds a couple of million every time. So it's fascinating to see the way it's going. I think you will see changes in development cycles and stuff. When you start hitting 25, 30 million for Game Pass, you are going to tailor all your games to Game Pass. You are not going to tailor your games
It's
to the
just
40.
interesting to see how like I said, obviously active is still PC. Could have the odd Switch and the odd PS4 game that uses that's 100 million people, and obviously like the backlash. But then I've seen people like, I'm in the Nintendo Life, Nintendo Life, and like the podcast Unlocked, like Facebook things, you quite often see people, I want a RPG in it or whatever, and like Shadow of Mordor, for instance, is on Game Pass, and like, nah, I only play FIFA and COD or whatever. I just want something different for a change. So there is obviously a lot of people that still only just use gold for, like I said, like the FIFA and
Well, that's most
COD
people.
example.
It's the same on PlayStation. It's most
so that's
people
what I'm
just
saying.
play, Call of Duty and FIFA and Madden or whatever.
That's why I'm saying it's getting those gold people to, so the Game Pass is their thing.
I guess that's what the EA deal was partly about as well, though, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, I mean,
that's the crowd they're trying to appeal to.
I know people that have got Game Pass because of the EA thing, because it's not just, so say they get a Game Pass deal where you get 6 months for £30-40. If you buy FIFA coins, you make that money back in 2 weeks, because you get 10% off on FIFA coins, for example. You know what I mean? If you buy the Ultimate Edition of the game, you not only get your Game Pass money off, you get EA Play percentage off as well. It's like 10-50% cheaper to pre-order the Ultimate Edition of the game. If that's the only game you're buying, that's 15-20 quid you've saved already. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think it's interesting. I think for me it kills this console war shenanigans that I'm sick and tired of, because it doesn't matter. Like, I don't care if the PlayStation 5 physically sells more than the Xbox. They're all different metrics now. Like, the metrics are so different. Like, Xbox doesn't care. You know what I mean? It's like,
I think all they care about is Game Pass.
Yes, they just like,
it's all they want.
Give me Game Pass numbers. It's you go on Twitter and you just see the fanboys, and I don't care, man. Like,
but that's also like
all three things are going to be good. It doesn't matter.
Obviously, we're talking about Game Pass. One of the things, like you said about Medium and Donut County, and Snowbike, Mike said it in the Kind of Funny Xcast. Like, with the Medium gone Game Pass. He was like, it's sometimes being used in a negative connotation. Now it's like, this game's good, but it's a Game Pass game.
Yeah, but I think it's the same with anything. I think Netflix was like that when it started. Do you remember when Netflix used to make their own movies? And they'd be like, hey, it's a Netflix movie, it's not a cinema movie. And that slowly started to erode now, because
you had like Roma on it.
And you're getting bigger and bigger games come to Netflix, because bigger movies come to Netflix. Disney Plus changes that.
There's someone that's like proper, Xbox who went Snowbike. Even he was like saying like,
oh yeah, but it's
we wouldn't. He was saying like, none of us would buy this game, apart from Paris. I think Paris said he would have bought
Yeah.
it for like 20 quid or something. So it's just interesting, like even their views of that. But then even it's the other way. I've seen people going like with God of War and stuff. Oh, it's a one and done game, so either can be like flipped. So
Yeah, I think everyone's got their own opinion, isn't it? That's the thing, and I think obviously on Twitter and stuff, it's always the negative opinions that are louder, as well. I mean,
yeah,
the thing for us with Game Pass, I know I've said it before, I know Craig said it before. Such a good supplementary service, and that the more and more it becomes the main service, the better. Like the more and more it's the main dish. You know what I mean? Like when Forza Horizon 5 comes out, that's a game we'd all pay money for, and I could tell you right now, it's be the most played game of that year when it comes out. Probably the same with Halo. It's been the same with Gears. You know, like Hivebusters, me and Craig were like, you know, we would have both bought that DLC.
Definitely,
I would say,
yeah.
even though it's not a massive DLC, like it's in Gears 3, I bought the DLC. You know what I mean? As well as the game, as well as the map packs. So you think now I'm getting that for free anyway, as an Xbox player, as a core Xbox player. I think Game Pass is one of those things. It's become the norm. I think I might find this when I play PS5. That I miss Game Pass more than I perhaps do now, because I think when you get onto a place that doesn't have it, I might be like, oh, I've got to pay $69.99
It surely
for a game.
won't be long though until PlayStation, starting to
Well,
really
they
push.
have now, don't they? And I don't know. I think they make so much money off their exclusives because it's different. I think the second you do the same, I think it might be difficult, because it's not just their own games. The thing is that Xbox has got a lot of deals in place for Game Pass, and I think if there was 2 or 3 services, those prices go up, and suddenly you know what I mean? Like they're not going to have, like, say the Yakuza cost $1 million. This is not how much it costs. But say it cost £1 million to have the Yakuza series on Game Pass. If PlayStation then went, oh, actually we want it on ours, say you're going to go, well, actually that's going to cost you 1.5 million, and then we'll offer 2 million, 3 million, and I think the price of this all comes up, and I think it has diminishing returns. We're not really going to know unless Luna and Stadia do better than they're doing. I think if Luna were to come out and really challenge Game Pass, then I think you might see that. I don't personally think Sony needs to. I think they need to be like Nintendo and just go, so Nintendo just do Nintendo shit, and it will always sell well because it's Nintendo shit. I think Sony need to do Sony shit, and you know, they seem to put a lot more money in PS Plus than Gold because of Game Pass. So I think how much you think having Control Ultimate Edition on day one cost, how much you think Fall Guys cost, how much you think Worms Rumble cost, you know what I mean, to have them as day one PlayStation Plus, which is really, you're not making I can't see you're going to make as much money out of that as you are out of Game Pass, because I suppose PS Plus £7 a month, £8 a month. Sure, there's more people that do it, but it's like,
I know it's a ridiculous amount they haven't, because I remember it was 1 or 2 years ago, Sony made more than Nintendo just from PlayStation Network. You know, it's like,
yeah, because that includes, my PlayStation Network includes like
all sales,
Fortnite and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but it's like ridiculous.
But yeah, it's interesting. I like all 3 companies doing their own thing. Personally, I if I was only on PlayStation, I think I'd want Game Pass. But because I've got both, I'm happy. But I do like them all doing their own thing. But I get like, yeah.
I think the problem, you can say you like mainly PS5 isn't going to be like the issue buying God of War, Ragnarok, something. And even though it's going to be like 70 quid, so that's a lot of money. The problem's going to be like, that indie looks really cool. Ooh, it's 20 quid or something.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, is we'll see, because obviously it's a fresh start.
That's going to be the issue.
So we'll see. I think we'll see in the next 18 months how Game Pass affects PlayStation in the next, because obviously PS4 there's so many more PS4s than Xbox Ones that it's, even if a game comes to day one PS4 and Game Pass, the difference in numbers is more sort of telling. Whereas Xbox Series S and X, and the fact that basically if you're on Xbox, it's one big continuation, whereas on PlayStation, if there's PS5 exclusive indie games, that cuts out the 100 million plus PS4 users. It's an interesting problem that's not come up yet, but I would be very interested to see if, you know, I wonder how the Outer Worlds did on PlayStation compared to Xbox, for example.
I don't think it did particularly well.
No, as it was a big game that was released on Game Pass, and it was £45 on PlayStation. Obviously, Psychonauts 2 would be the next one, I think. That you think
Wasteland was on both as well, wasn't it?
Wasteland 3 was on both. Yeah, I can't imagine that did well on PlayStation. And I think that's where I think you're going to see perhaps Sony thinking, do we need to do something I just can't see them doing their own first party games. I could see them opening now up to be more like Game Pass, maybe including it in some sort of combined thing with PlayStation
That's the
Plus.
problem with PlayStation. I know you can obviously buy like Gold Game Pass, PC Game Pass, like a la carte, for instance. But also, we got Ultimate, which is all combined. They really need a like His Plus and Now Plus.
I mean, if they did that, I probably would get it, because Now has a good selection of games now.
Now has over 800 games or something,
and they don't have to be streamed anymore. It's only the stuff that isn't on PS4 that needs to be streamed. So like the PS3 games.
So Control, for instance, has actually been in PlayStation Now for quite a while.
Yeah, and you can download it. You haven't got to like stream it.
Yeah, we're excited it's coming to PlayStation Plus. But could have already played it on now. Like,
but the problem is as well. The problem they've got at the minute, especially for Craig, this is all new information, because as an Xbox player, I can't imagine. Like, I play PlayStation, I don't know much about Now, so I can't imagine Craig sees it very often. But PS Now,
their marketing for that compared to the Xbox Game Pass marketing is, it's nowhere near, is it?
It's really like, Paul. Like, would you have known? Like, I remember when Red Dead came to Game Pass, it seemed like a real big deal. Yeah,
it was everywhere on Twitter.
Yeah, but it was already on PlayStation Now. But like, apart from like the hardcore PlayStation fans, like, who would have known that was on there? Like, I don't get Sony's marketing department.
It's also way too expensive. That's the problem. It's cheaper. It's cheaper than it used to be. When it first came out, you had to pay by like the hour to rent games. It was awful. And like now, it's like, because now it's sort of halfway. It's halfway Game Pass. It's halfway Stadia, and it just needs a combined. Here is your PlayStation subscription for £10 a month or £11 a month or whatever.
Yeah.
And like I said, I would probably have it if I had it, because the stuff that's on now is a lot of comparable stuff to Game Pass. There's a lot of indies. There's a lot of the older first party Sony games that don't tend to put the first 6 months of games on there. Like God of War's on there now, for example, and Spider-Man's on there now and stuff. But and that's the thing. Like, they need that. They need to rebrand that service, and it needs to be something better if they want to do it. I suppose is the big thing. If they want to do it, obviously their streaming now comes via Microsoft, which is funny. But but yeah, so that's our little Game Pass discussion. I think it's going to be one of those things that we're going to bring up throughout the year, because I think as these releases come out and we start to see how they do, especially I think the big one is going to be Halo for us. I think I'm really interested to see the impact of a Halo on Game Pass, and hopefully it does come this year. Hopefully it's not terrible, despite my Fantasy Critic counter picks and stuff. I think I picked it, right? Halo Infinite.
You picked it. I counter picked it.
So like I'm like, I kind of hope it's good. I could see it being bad, but we'll see. But yeah, boys, that was a almost adult productive chat we just had, which is great.
Yeah.
So before we shoot off, is there any closing things you guys want to say about anything at all?
Not that I can think
No,
of.
I said this in the hope that someone would be like, oh yes, Dave, actually I want to talk about. But yeah, so guys,
so all getting ready for the Royal Rumble tonight.
Again, so this is a wrestling channel, so obviously people come here for wrestling content. I haven't watched WWE in like 2 years. I think Craig is probably nearly the same. If you take NXT away, almost certainly.
Yeah, I watched the odds NXT match that I see people raving about, but that is about it.
I watch more Impact and New Japan than I do WWE comfortably. Actually, comfortably.
I mean, I saw rumors of Cesaro winning it or something like that, and that confused the hell out of me.
Yeah.
This year's Rumble is very unpredictable.
Well, Alexa Bliss is going to win the women's, because she's the only one they put on social media at all.
I think Rhea Ripley's going to win the women's, to be honest.
We'll see. But anyway, if you want wrestling content, we still have one more episode of Brand Wars Season 2 coming before the end of the current recordings, which we recorded 6-7 months ago. So hopefully lockdown will end and we can do some more. I'm thinking about doing some more wrestling content to fill the void. There was talks of perhaps playing WWE 2K Battlegrounds, but I need that game to be like £5 if I want to play it, because it doesn't look great. But
no, I hear it's pretty bad. I didn't even play it on its free weekend.
Yeah, I'd say it sucks to be a wrestling game fan right now, because we're so desperate for AEW. I can't wait for our AEW games episode that we're going to do when that game launches, because even if it's bad, it's going to be something to play. I liked the TNA game. If everyone remembers the TNA game, that was kind of fun. Anyway, Thanks for watching the show, guys. We will be back next week, and I don't have a clue what the topic is going to be, so look out for Twitter. If you want to catch me on Twitter, I am at UFGizmo. If you want to catch Chris, he is...
Massive Das.
You won't be able to catch Craig, but he'll be on Xbox Live as CW Lanky, so check him out if you come across him in the Titanfall ranks.
If you're stomping me into the mud on that game.
Stomping him into the ground. And if you like the show, drop a like, because it does help. Drop a subscribe if you want more of this shenanigans, and we will see you next week.
Maybe you could leave a comment. What should be top of the show next week?
Maybe you could, or you could tweet at Chris, at Mass of Das, topic of the week. Please do it. He loves it. He loves the interaction. Right, guys? See you next week.